Hello there and welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about a product I bought on Banggood. It's a product from China, and this is a review of this product, and it's a no-nonsense review. There is nothing is being given to me to do or say or anything. I've got nothing for free. I bought it online, and it's the X450 Aviator, and that's what is it? It looks like it's a VTOL on 3 actual motors, so it's a tricopter mixed with a delta fly machine. What can I say to you? First of all, let's talk about what's in the box. In the box you got everything. You got the actual craft, which is nice, very flimsy, very light. You got a 2.4 gigahertz radio that works on batteries, and we'll talk about that later on. It has all the commands and it's all preset, so you don't have to practically program anything. It comes with a manual, and then there is everything inside. There is a battery charger, there is a battery which is a 1000 milliampere 3S battery with the XT30 connector, and it has some spare props, a set of spare props. It has like a screwdriver, a set of like few little screws which are missing, and an adapter for the battery charger, so you can plug it in into your mains. I mean, the quality overall, it's yeah, it's not that incredible. It's everything is made very flimsy. It is designed okay. This one is a VTOL, so it takes off vertically, and it just goes, it becomes a plane, it becomes like a delta wing. The actual back motor stops, and those two just goes down vertically like that, and once they do that, it just propels the airplane that way. Having said so, yes, it does that, but back to the manual. Thing with is the manual. The manual is very important, because being an almost ready to fly, almost toy-like grade aircraft, it will appeal to all the little kids. You need to know certain things in order to get these things together, and most of the manual is in Chinese, and the little part which is in English, it's like in rubbish English. I'm sorry about my accent. English is not my first language, but I've been here long enough, I should be better. There are things, there are typos, and there are things which do not make sense until you, just like you are a dedicated aero modeler, and you go like, oh, that's what it means. It's absolutely gibberish if you are not a foreigner like me, and you actually kind of like get a gist of this kind of language, because I spoke it when I was a young man and I first came to England. But yeah, it's I mean, for a kid it will be like an absolute killer. But I mean, to say it through, all you need to know is that you switch on, the thing has to be on the top position, the throttle has to be on the top position, is in mode 2, and when you switch on, put the battery on the aircraft, it will flash, and then you put the throttle down, and then at that point of time you bound. What it doesn't say to you is that you have to do that every time you switch on the aircraft. So there is no actual memory on the receiver. The receiver is just like as you go. Okay. Having said that, there are also other things which are like mix and match. The battery charger is just a box, and It takes about 3 hours to charge a 1000 milliampere battery. It's the only one you have. And it has stickers on it, for example, that says gliding. Here it says gliding. Also here it says gliding. I never seen a Delta plane with a hole in the wing gliding. And if you want to see it, you can try. Have a look if you can glide with this thing, but be prepared to actually salvage this the best you can, or do it from a very low high. It says here steering gear. That's not, it has no gear. It's just like belly landing, so I don't know what is steering gear he talks about. It probably talks about the fact that being a tricopter, these two servos, which are here, they're like two micro servos here, will actually move the props in front in order to steer the airplane. When you start, it's actually very good. It flies, it goes up, it's very good. That's the other thing which is good of it. One of the things which is good of it. The actual board and the software is quite good. It's not that bad. The only thing you have to look at, and it's very, very important, because I did 4 flights, 3 crashes. First flight, 1 crash. Second flight, another crash. Third flight, 3rd crash. 4th flight, successful, and actually understood how the whole thing works. So I'm gonna explain to you very, very fast before I bored you for a bit more with my critical thoughts about this thing. Basically, once you get up in the air and it flies and it just goes up, you start as a tricopter, so it will vertically take off. It's actually very stable. It goes the way you want. You push forward, it goes forward, backwards, and everything. And it has no incredible characteristics that will actually surprise you until you transition. The radio has a switch here. Let's see if I can show it to you. That's it, it should be in focus now. This switch goes from tricopter, there you go, to plane, to the second thing, and then when it goes to plane, it just those two motors will go horizontal, and this one will switch off, and then it will fly. And you will see in the actual flight video I got, which is quite good, how it flies pretty fast. Actually, being a Delta flyer, it just goes pretty quick, and it has 2 servos here in the back, so it's bank and yank mostly, nothing on the rudder. So once you are going onto plane, you can actually also decide to go back to tricopter or go all the way down, and that will make it look like more like one of these planes from Horizon Hobby, or this that will go like in a Harrier. The 2 motor will stay up this way, and it will hover this way, and it does hover pretty well. It's quite good actually. So the idea is great, especially now here in UK. We are navigating in mud. We are being flooded right, left and center, and we are like one hurricane after the other one, really. I've not been flying for about 1.5 months, except today. Because every weekend I was either working, or we had like a 45 miles an hour wind, which is impossible to fly any model into, unless you wanna like slope and probably lose your plane somewhere also on a slope. 45 miles an hour is way too much. And plus, to reach the actual place where you can you can fly. It's like you need Wellingtons or like rubber boots. You need to equip yourself. This morning when I went to fly, I had like, you know, I was in mud and it was like 3 degrees. Fortunately there was no wind, so it's kind of like, so this will be ideal because it takes off vertically and it flies. So you don't need a strip, you don't need like a big thing, and you can actually go, but you need a very big airspace to fly into, because there is no way that the actual plane needs like a little small park with trees. No way. Unless you want to fly it as a tricopter only, that's fine. That it will maneuver through like obstacles and everything. But once it goes as a plane, forget it. You have like a big like dart going around the sky. Unless you Harrier hit, and then yeah, okay, there is not much you can do about it. You go like, okay, that's it. What else can I say to you? Oh yeah, main important things for anybody who actually wants to buy this and use it. For anybody who wants to start with the model, this is not a model for starter. It's not a trainer or anything, so just be careful with that. Second of all is, even if you are an expert, you have to be careful. During the transition, the actual plane loses about 20% of height. So if you try a transition in about, I don't know, 1.5 meters, 2 meters from the ground, you crash it. Did that the first time. I didn't know. I mean, like I went from actual hovering like that with the as a tricopter to the plane, and it just like dived down into the ground. Every time it dives into the ground, the first thing that strikes is the prop, because the engine are like that, right? So the prop will strike, and the actual I have a photo of this, and the actual motor will just point down. Once it does that, it just goes out of alignment and it breaks, and then you are back in Bangkok buying spare parts, or you have to take it apart, and there is no way you can fly it. And it does that very, very often. Also, when you transition from plane into actual tricopter, you have to be careful. You have to have a certain height, because it will lose height immediately. Practically the whole the two motors that are pulling it at the moment will just point upwards, so it's like, you know, it's like it's stalling, so it just loses altitude and everything. Probably the person who designed this didn't have a lot of aerodynamics in mind, but yeah, okay, fine, that's how you cope with it. The other thing is same thing, from Harrier to plane, from Harrier you have to be high. One thing which I suggest you never do, I tried, is that he has a red button here that says 3G, 6G. Don't try to make any sense out of it. Basically, in few words, the board which is here, when you press this button, just releases all the commands, and it stops using the actual barometer and the actual compass and everything, whatever is in there, as the actual sensor, let's put it this way. I don't have the word in mind now. It just releases it, and you can push and pull all the surfaces, and they will go from one way to another one in full, without being counteracted by the engine or anything like that. So the thing becomes ungovernable, and it crashes. So I guess this is a button made for if you really are high up and you want to see what would it be or you want to try some very nice acrobatic, you can try. But don't do it as I did it, about like at 10 feet from the air, from the ground, because it will crash. He just went, he turned around on his own and went down. I didn't even touch the all. I didn't even touch the surface or any commands. I was just like having an alpha throttle. Having said that, just remember this, please, because otherwise you will be very disappointed. You will not be able to fly it. After 3 crashes, I flew it this morning. This is the video. It's quite good. It's nice. It's a solution to all the mud we have around, and it could be like a good park flyer, but of course with keeping in mind what I just told you. Second of all, you will need a license here in UK for this. You'll need your operator number, because it's more than 250 grams with a battery. I think it's around 275 to 300 grams, and therefore you need to have either a BMFA achievement or register, and take school and get your operator number, and then you can fly it. I hope you learned something here, and I hope I warned you on something. And if there is anything I can help you with, I fixed it 3 times. It can be fixed without replacing everything. Of course, the props needs to be purchased if you run out of props, but I'm sure that there are some compatible props that could be put in there. They're like very simple, like little bullnose props. I hope you liked it. Let me know in your comments if you have any questions. Give me a thumbs up. Blue sky to everybody.